Okay, good day to everyone. The general elections has just been finished, and it has generated enough discussion points for me to create two new videos, right? And I think this is something which may not really be relevant for people who normally tune into this investment material, but I think it's really important that I put up a video to address this issue. And so for today, I'll be talking about whether can reading fiction be serious enough to improve our personal finances. And obviously, the background as to why I'm creating this video is that an MP, Mr. Ng Chee Meng of Jalan Kayu, uh, it is alleged that when he held the education minister portfolio, he once asked a group of trainee teachers whether they read at least one book a month. And then after that, he pressed on and then he asked whether the book is a fiction. And even as a very loyal PAP voter like me, I think this is a highly inappropriate thing for an education minister to say. Because, first of all, it is illogical, right? This is a false dichotomy. A piece of fiction cannot be serious, and serious books cannot be fictional. And there seems to be this underlying implication that reading fiction is frivolous. And this is really unbecoming because I think a good politician should understand that there are many forms of capital as well. And if you have a population that reads, even if it is fiction, it can generate a lot of cultural capital. And we could have poets, we could have content creators that could export movies overseas, right? So I think that's very short-sighted. And so it's very important for me to highlight today three fictional books that are actually very relevant to finance folks, right? Hopefully to counter that argument. So let's begin with the first book. This book is known as The Gap in the Curtain by John Buchan. And this is a time, sort of like a story where a businessman suddenly is able to see the newspaper a year down the road. And he figured out that two companies will merge, right? We'll have a M&A, right? So the story goes, he goes on an adventure to buy as many shares as possible of the target firm. And the book talks about even with the knowledge of the future as an investor, things might not turn out to be what you want, all right? And it actually teaches forecasters to be humble about their prognostications, okay? So this is actually an excellent book for people who are value investors, right? Who believe that by poring through financial statements, you would be able to tell the future of a company or whether a company is underpriced. So definitely recommended reading for people who are into investments. The second book I want to talk about is a classic, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. And this book really reminds me of the FIRE movement. Now, if you looked at the character Mr. Darcy, who is like someone that the women in the story really want, I guess. And Mr. Darcy's Pemberley estate in the book generates a very humble £10,000 a year for him. But take note that this is in the year 1811. So actually, if you convert it into today's dollars, this is actually more than 500,000 Singapore dollars a year. All right, and so I think the affection of the women towards Mr. Darcy can't really be disentangled from his ridiculously high passive income flow. All right, so to generate would easily need about $12.5 million in income generating assets. So if you want to be the modern day equivalent of Mr. Darcy, well, you will need an 8-digit sum to be able to qualify for that. And this is amazing because Mr. Darcy predated the FIRE movement by more than a century. And I consider this to be one of the most important lessons about the book Pride and Prejudice, much to the dismay of a lot of women who study English literature in the US. Right? And finally, one of my personal favorites and probably the most important lesson in personal finance came from the book Men at Arms by Terry Pratchett. And this is known as Inspector Vimes' Boots Theory. very, very practical, all right? And in this story, they say that cheap boots require quick replacements. High quality boots can last many years. And this is why rich people pay less over the lifetime of the goods they purchase, because they pay upfront for goods of a higher quality, right? And I think this is probably one of the best lessons in personal finance, right? When you buy something, it helps to know what kind of goods are of high quality so that they can last you a very long time. So that when you buy something like that, you don't have to pay for it again, right? And that's how wealthy people can actually spend less uh, than poor people, right? And you can apply this in many other areas in your life. Like, for example, if you're wealthy, you can afford to have healthier food. You can afford a salad in the afternoon for lunch. And over time, because you don't run into all these health problems that other people have, you pay less for medical expenses, right? And that's why I guess I'm in this drive to be wealthier, not just for me, but for my family as well. So it's a Vimes Boots theory, and it's something that you can encourage your friends to read to know a little bit more about personal finance. Yeah, and that's basically what I want to say, right? Please respect fictional literature. It can also be extremely practical. Personally a little bit disappointed that the literatis, who are my friends, do not go all out to defend this position, right? And there are probably a lot more examples of how works of literature have something to say about the acquisition or the preservation of wealth. And I think it's probably wrong to be close-minded and think that only non-fiction has all the answers, right? What the ex-minister said when he uh, wanted to tell everybody about serious books. And I also hope that the folks read the books mentioned in this video. All right, how do you help me? If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. You can also buy me a coffee at the link here. If you want to listen to my life story and figure out how the financial independence movement works, sign up for my course preview. Just Google ERM intro and take the first link. And that's it. Thank you very much.